toi dont je me souviendrai. Toi qui pourras à tout jamais atteindre mon cœur et le porter au-delà des monts, au travers des vallées.
Welcome guys to the second episode of the How to Techno series. Today we're going to be breaking down a very simple dub techno track. You will have heard the intro demo preview. As always, if you would like me to make this into a downloadable template and do an extended tutorial walkthrough, more than happy to do that. Just drop me a line. If enough people are interested, I will be more than happy to do that. So you will have heard the intro and you can click on the SoundCloud links to hear the previews. What I will say is I experimented with two different kicks, okay? And you'll see them in the links. So I'm going to go through this. I'm going to aim to spend 15-20 minutes in this video. Any further questions, any further detail can be picked up in that template walkthrough. Alrighty. So, low end bus, very simple. We're using two different types of kick. You'll hear them in both examples. I probably prefer this kick because it's a little bit more akin to the dub techno style. So let's have a listen. Really punchy, but very subby and warm kick. Taking the tail off the kick with sidechain, with kickstart. A lot of EQing going on here, taking off the top end because we don't need that in dub techno. Kick drums are often quite subdued. Punchy but subdued, so that's taken off, and some mid-range EQing to take out some of the peaks. And that's it. Okay, for the kick. For the low-end bass elements, we have a couple of different things. We've got the sub that you hear coming through. Basically, it's only two notes. So just those two notes. Going. You'll notice they're slightly off the offbeat, just to give the track a little bit of a different feel. And for this, it's purely just a sine wave, nothing else. We've got a slightly longer release so that the note hangs on when depressed or when unpressed. We're sending a dB of gain through the OSR filter gain. That's all that's happening for the sub. Really simple, mono, clean, easy. To complement that, to give motion and movement, we have this tom loop. Was like that. Brought it down 9 semitones, and we've taken out all the highs because we want it to be lo-fi and subdued. Next thing is we've got a short bass. It's a sample with a little bit of reverb on it, and it's got the top end and the high mids taken off. Very simple. Okay, so that's what's happening for the low end, and that repeats through the track. Okay. That little staccato, dun dun dun, you can hardly hear it, but it's there. It does add something to the groove. Now, I did use this kick in one of the examples because this is the opposite end. It's a very short, stubby kick. But I do like the rumbliness of the other kick. Low end processing, a little bit of low end processing. I'm not going to spend too much time in this video. I've used Ozone 11 to. I've got the trial of this, by the way, as you'll notice, just to check it out. But I'm using the clarity and, the stability and the low end tool to tighten up the low end and kind of enhance the transients, vintage sampler, and utility to mono below 120 hertz. For whatever reason, I've got the 606 hat in the low end bus. Don't know why. Wasn't planned. Okay, so that's our low end, pretty simply. Stacked on top of each other, warm, subdued, lo-fi dub techno feel. Next thing is the percussion, which sounds like this. So we have a very simple offbeat sampled hat here with some glue compression cutting the lows. Then we have this fabric kit, and we're using two samples, the tom and this wood dark thing. And all we're doing is taking off the top end with a filter. Keep that lower 5 feel. Again, glue compression, sidechain, and some EQ to bring it down in the mix, because it's there for decoration almost. If you combine that with the other percussive element, which is a 606 hat, sounds like this. So you can see here we've got a heavily swung hi-hat pattern for the 606 kit. Processing wise, very minimal. Glue compression. We're using a little bit of auto pan to slowly move it across the stereo field, which is really nice to complement this straight driving hat here, and a little bit of EQ just to tidy things up and soften things. Okay, next thing is the synth bus. There's no processing, so it's quick to go through. The main meat and potatoes of the track is this sampled chord. Excuse me, this sampled chord here. So it just goes do throughout the track. Now, if you find a chord sample like this, and you want to make a pad out of it, as I have done here, all you do is turn up loop to 100%, amend the start marker, wherever you want it to start from, amend the length, for whichever bit you want to loop and sample. I'd normally leave that 100%. And then you want to tweak the fades each side of the loop so that when you depress the note, it sounds like a continuous loop, like a continuous sustain. Pretty useful, works well for this track. In terms of processing, there's a hell of a lot going here. I'm going to browse through very quickly, but you can quickly hear the before and then the after. Very different. I'll turn off the auto filter. So really accentuated the sound and turned it from something that's really nice into more of a dub techno sound. Just going to go through this very quickly. If you want me to do a walkthrough, I'll spend a bit more time on what I've done. So we're going into reverb and delay and effects processing. Cutting the lows after that. Enhancing stereo using Big. The auto filter is automated. Low pass. A lot of extensive EQing to get rid of some of the mids that were competing for space in the mix. We've used this tool, Clarity, to subdue some of the sides. To compress some of the mids. Classic chorus, just to create a bit of a wonky sound using the vibrato function, and some EQ in the end. And I can spend a bit more about how I've done things, why I've done things. I want to try to keep to 15-20 minutes. As you can see, the automation on the auto filter is the main kind of automation for this particular sound. Next, we've got a pad to accompany. It's a theorem sound. It's just a preset. It sounds like this. Like this. Okay, it's a nice washing filtered sound. To turn it into a dub chord, we're using the chord tool, up 3, up 7, and bringing the third one down 12 semitones to create thickness. Et voila, you've got your pad. This is quite nice and wide, and complements the chord. We listen to them together. You know, make sure the auto filter's on. Because this pad seems to move in this area, and chord is wide and seems to move more towards this area. They work well. Now, a lot of stereo information going on. In any techno, this is a classic technique, but if you've got a lot of stereo, you want to have something to contrast to that in mono. We've got a nice little dub chord stab that I've made using Wavetable. Quite simply, 2 oscillators, both sawtooth. One is up 3 semitones, the other is up 7 to create that dub chord sound. A little bit of modulation here, just to offset the detune, just to create a bit of a slight bend in the sound. That's it for in terms of the wavetable. We've set that up. We have got the sub enabled, but we've just left it at 0 octave. Both filters have been enabled. First filter is a low pass filter, adding a bit of drive through that, a bit of res to sweeten. Second filter is a notch filter, and a bit of res going through that as well. So to get these filters moving and to get that classic dub chord, phasey kind of filtery sound, for lack of a better term, in Matrix we are controlling the filter frequency cutoff with the LFO. As you can see here, LFO2 is modulating both those filter cutoffs, which gives it the sound. It would help if I played you that, so let me do that now. Turn off the filter so you can hear. So there is some automation in this sound as well, so really important in this type of techno. So every second hit we are modulating the amp attack, so you get this slight sucked in sound in every second note, as you just heard. Key thing to this is it's plucky, it's hard, and you can see that filter 1, we've got the envelope amount turned up 100%, and the envelope shape is very, very short and staccato to create that plucky attack, and it's very mono sounding. Great. Simple delay, a little bit of reverb going through, but key thing is to keep the stereo narrow, because we want to maintain that narrow focus, and a little bit of EQ to tame the tops. Going into some good old overdrive, and again using the auto filter to blend. And as I said, nothing on the synth bus, but if you listen to everything together, so everything seems to have its own position. It sounds very warm, and you've got the juxtaposition of that snappy dub chord, centrally mono, and then the other stuff occupying the stereo domain. Creating a diverse real estate in your music. We've got a little bit of noise because all dub techno has some sort of noise or textural. It's just this white noise loop that just is in the background. We have Vox and samples going on. So we have this woman's haha voice. Just quite a nice ambient effect. We've got this, what I've called mouthy Vox. It's like this guttural whispering sound. Just adds a bit of noise and atmosphere, fills up the space nicely. Helps with the sensation of it. And we've got this French Vox, which is just this woman singing in French, kind of sensual vocal, which works quite well. I mean, you don't hear this in all types of dub techno. This is maybe towards something that's more house orientated, okay, rather than darker, but still, it does the job. Processing wise, EQ, we're using Ozone here as well. I just use a preset here to tidy up the vocal a little bit. All right. Running through sidechain, and that's our vocal bus. So that's pretty much all of this track, guys. There is a lot of processing on the mix bus to give this the sound that you hear. I'm going to quickly skip through what I did, but again, I'm going to spend more time on this in a subsequent video should you want me to do that. We're running through distortion, saturation, black box, UAD bringing the compression, 1176, can't go wrong. Some EQing here, quite a lot going on here, different EQing insertion points, mid and stereo, etc., which I can go into later. We're using a bit of Ozone because I got the trial. A tape from Ozone, a little bit of EQ, maximization, more Ozone, overdrive, classic cut, which gives it that, and I did this in the previous video, gives it that kind of vintage sample warmness and kind of adds a lo-fi sheen, which is fantastic for this type of music. OG Pultec EQ, can't go wrong with that, just to work on the mids. Again, OG probably saturation, and there you have it. Again, I can go through this in more detail in a subsequent video. I'll just do a quick AB. Okay, we'll turn it on. And I'll play the other kick drum as well, just for example. So quite a big difference, and obviously the two versions of the track. Clearly, if you were releasing a track, you would say, I'm using one, you can't release two tracks with two different kick drums, but it's YouTube, and I actually quite like, I like both of them. I like the flavour that a short kick and a more subby kick gives. So we'll leave that there, guys. Hopefully you found that insightful, you've learned something, maybe you haven't. If you have any questions, post below. If you would like me to release a subsequent follow-up extended tutorial and include a track template with that, more than happy to do that. And I'll leave you guys there. Take care, see you next time.